Hey guys, Ron from FunctionBuilt-Aquatics. Just finishing up a 50% water change on the South American Paludarium. And while I had the lid off, I figured it'd be a good opportunity to show you the growth that we're getting. So, I have noticed that the Kessel is really doing a fantastic job of maintaining a nice green growth of the Java moss, and the cyno, thankfully, has actually disappeared. And the cyno could have also been related to some of the lighting. I know nutrients is a big portion of it, but maybe the LED bulb I was using prior to the Kessel was beneficial to cyno actually getting a nice foothold. And the cyno was never really inside the tank. The cyno was actually developing inside the clay balls. And now it looks like the Java moss is starting to spread into the clay balls. It's amazing how the growth is so different right here versus being fully aquatic. Well, it's not amazing. It just goes to show you that stuff will adapt. No matter what you do, it'll find a way. So this system, like I said, just got a 50% water change. It's my typical weekly maintenance, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that I am a super heavy feeder. I like to feed this tank sometimes 2 times a day. If not, I can. I'll feed it 3 times a day. It's something I enjoy. But that comes at a cost, and I probably could get away with a 25% weekly water change on this tank with the amount of plant growth I have in it. The nitrates are not even detectable in any of the test kits I use. The ammonia is, of course, 0. The pH in the system is about 6.5. I haven't tested the KH. You know, I know it's pretty stable. I'm using now RO and tap water. I use mostly RO for the wild betta fish, but in this setup I use RO and tap, and I noticed that the plants really started to actually benefit from the extra carbon and the stability from adding the tap water. My tap water, from what I learned from my interview with Discosaurus, our Jersey Shore tap water is pretty good water. And I've actually tested my tap water. My tap water comes out from the faucet 6.5 pH. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm also pretty happy with the growth I'm getting in this tank. What I'm not happy with is the fact that the fish, because of the water current, seem to cluster mostly in the right hand corner and sort of like to hide in the shade. So what I'm probably going to do tonight after this video is I'm going to dial back the water flow, and I'm going to see if that adversely affects anything in the system. My hope and intent is to try to get the beautiful tetras that I have in this setup to come out and spend more time in the wide open. They may not necessarily like to be in the bright light, which is acceptable. Tetras do like dim light, but I still expect to see them a little bit more than I do. And we'll try that experiment tonight and see what happens tomorrow morning. The neons down here are doing rather well. They do spawn, but they also eat the eggs in the fry. I do have one black neon that actually made it from a spawning up top, was flushed down the bottom into the bottom tank, and survived. And he's actually growing out pretty well. The problem is it's one fish, and they're very difficult to catch in that tank. So I'm leaving him down there with the neons. I thought about bringing him back up and putting him in with the black neon group that's in the top system, but right now he's probably going to stay where he is. So, FunctionBuilt-Aquatics, South American Paludarium. I'm going to cut another video that's going to be linked to this on the Chinese mountain stream, which I'm just finishing up a water change on that. So today's going to be a Paludarium, an all-in-all Paludarium video on Thursday. So, hope you like what we're doing. Give us a thumbs up, comments. We do appreciate all our supporters. Thank you very much, guys. FunctionBuilt-Aquatics. Okay guys, this is the second Paludarium. This is the Chinese mountain stream setup. This is the very first Paludarium Nathan and I ever put together, and it's also, of course, our oldest Paludarium. This tank is 3 years in running. The majority of the fish in this setup are white cloud mountain minnows, have been with us through multiple generations, some of which have been born in this tank, some of which were new stock that we added, but for the most part the base has been from day one, 3 years ago. We added 3 Candy Diana Rhinogobius gobies to the setup about 6 months ago, and then we were also given some really cool Cobra Guppies that we added to the setup. I will be honest with you, I hesitated in ever adding any other species besides the white cloud mountain minnows, but knowing now that guppies have been pretty much added to multiple different countries, so they're not just a South American species anymore or Central American. They are through most Asian countries. You can find them in Thailand, you can find them in China, so they are in a lot of waterways throughout the world. So to find them mixed into a setup that is geared more towards vanishing Chinese fish like the mountain minnows is pretty much uncommon. And when I say vanishing, the white cloud mountain minnows are only found, for the most part, in sporadic locations in China, and for them, and the biggest population are found in the aquarium hobby. They are all but extinct in their native environment. So most of the white cloud mountain minnows you see, 99.9% of them, if not 100% of them now, are captive produced and no longer caught in the wild and sold for sale. They're all captive species. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure every fish except for the rhinogobies in this tank are captives. So I just filled the tank up so you have a little bit of fauna and I should say some all-flux basically in the water column right now, but once this tank settles in, this tank goes back to being crystal clear. I did a 50% water change on this setup too. The only difference between the water quality in this and the South American Paludarium, I should say a couple differences. A, this tank runs a lot cooler. It averages between 68 and 72 degrees. The water's a little bit more on the hard side, more on the alkaline side in this setup. I do add a little baking soda to the mix, and I just started adding some Epsom salt to the setup too, which looks like it's benefited a lot of the digestive tract in the fish. It acts as a laxative. I noticed that I don't have so many bloated fish anymore. I do try to keep these guys fed to a normal 1 feeding per day. The females in this tank have full bellies and they're loaded with eggs. Unfortunately, these guys also prey on their own eggs and fry, and I'm sure the rhinogobies and the guppies do their fair share of decimating the fry too. I could shut the water pumps down for a few hours and go in there with a turkey baster and actually remove some of the fry. We've done that before. Move them to like a 2.5 gallon grow out tank and then eventually add them back, which is how we actually reintroduce the white cloud mountain minnows back to the setup after we're able to get them out. And we'll probably do that next go around. We'll shut the system down for a little while and let the babies actually find their way to a calmer water surface, and I can suck them out with a turkey baster. And I've actually gotten pretty good at doing it without destroying the fry. So this is second video in Paludarium Thursday, and this is the Chinese mountain stream. Thank you very much for watching, and really do appreciate the support, guys. FunctionBuilt-Aquatics. See you.